see, the bin's next to you. Why did you throw it on the floor?
Doesn't matter. Someone will pick it up anyway. It's not my problem.
That's not the point, and it is your problem, actually.
Oh, here we go. Anna on a quest once more to save the planet and stop the ice caps from melting and stop the polar bears and penguins from having to wear sunglasses and shorts. Jeez.
Massive lol, Michael McIntyre. You should be on Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, haha. Okay, if the whole thing is so important to you, why don't you explain it to me? Where does our rubbish go?
Well, a lot of our rubbish goes to landfill sites. It's not the best way of dealing with what we throw away, but it's a start in showing you what happens to some of our stuff.
Well, landfill sounds pretty gross. I'm not sure I want to know what goes on there.
Well, you wanted to know, so I'm going to show you. This is a landfill processing site. Pretty grim, right? This is where the things we can't be bothered to recycle end up.
Ugh, that's awful. The smell. What's this place?
Well, this place is where the rubbish trucks come and dump the waste they collect off the streets, ready to be transferred to the landfill site.
Ugh, I can smell the stench. It's rank. So where do the lorries go from here?
The lorries go to actual landfill site. If you think this place is bad, wait till you see what gets dumped into the ground. This is a dumping ground. The lorries come along and literally dump everything we saw in the holding area.
Oh my god, that's a lot of rubbish. There's piles and piles of it. Why are they just chucking it in the ground?
Because people can't be bothered to recycle it. Did you know Wales produces enough waste to fill the Millennium Stadium every 20 days? It's insane. Once the waste is dumped, a massive machine with huge metal teeth crushes all the rubbish to make room for more. This happens every day. Tons and tons of rubbish are buried here.
So it just stays there?
That's right. And the soil is laid over the top to stop rats and seagulls from getting to it. It's not the nicest place to look at, is it? But this is the reality. Whatever we don't or won't recycle gets left here to rot away forever.
I had no idea that happened. Doesn't stuff trapped underground create, like, methane gas?
Yep, methane gas is 21 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Methane is produced when the rubbish is buried and starts to break down. The landfill has to have vents that capture and reuse the gas, because if it stays in the ground, it could poison our soil and seep into our waters, which wouldn't be the nicest thing, would it?
No, I couldn't say it would be. It doesn't seem a very sensible way of dealing with our rubbish. What about the stuff that we do recycle? What happens to that?
Well, that process is actually pretty cool. We can take a look if you like. This is a recycling plant. This is where the things you recycle come after they've been picked up off your streets. It's held here and then taken over to that huge bag opener with massive metal teeth, which opens the bags and takes the recycling up a conveyor belt.
There seems to be quite a lot to get through.
This place can actually deal with 20 tons of waste an hour, which is a lot when you think about it. The stuff is then sorted by hand, where the things that can't be recycled are removed. These people also place the recyclables into chutes to be dealt with by a system of conveyor belts which continuously sifts through the waste to ensure nothing that can't be recycled gets past.
It still doesn't look nice, and it looks quite complicated.
No, it doesn't. But it's also not that complicated. Once the waste gets past the conveyor belt, it's sorted into cardboards, plastics and cans. And once this is collected, it's bundled together and sold on to make new cans, newspapers, or even your favourite magazine.
Whoa, that's a lot of stuff people have decided to recycle there. And it looks totally different from when it first arrived.
I know. Cool, eh?
That is cool.
We really can't keep throwing everything into a great big hole in the ground and expecting other people to deal with what we can't be bothered to recycle. Here's something for you. Did you know that each person in the UK throws away 7 times their own body weight in rubbish every year? It's insane. It's not so much a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips, but more a moment on the lips, a lifetime in the tips.
I think I'll stick to the comedy, thanks. But you're right, I can see how bad landfill is. We could be doing so much more with our waste.
I know, it's true. Sadly, landfill is the main way of dealing with what we throw away, but recycling is the most sustainable way of managing our rubbish. Anyway, we better get a move on. Dad was expecting us home ages ago.
You know, James, you may think I'm being all hippie princess about this, but to me it's really important, and to be honest, it's something we all should be thinking about.
Well, I'm starting to realise that now, sis. Anyway, I'm starving. Ooh, I may have a bit of that leftover pizza before we go to Nan's. Don't tell me, we can do wonderful and magic things with our food waste too?
Hey, you're getting it at last. And yes, our food waste can be recycled and be used in a pretty cool way. We can take a look if you like.
Yeah, if my stomach can handle it.
This is a food waste processing estate in the Vale called Cowbridge Compost. This is where all of the bits of food we throw away in our food caddies come to be composted and used in loads of different ways. Firstly, it's delivered onto the site by collection vehicles, where it gets weighed and recorded and then taken down to the sorting area and placed into the holding sections.
Oh God, that looks just as rank as the landfill site. Please tell me it gets better.
Not really, if I'm honest. The waste is left here to begin decomposing and is mixed with other natural waste like grass cuttings and bark, which is then left in the bunkers and moved along each bunker every 4 days to keep decomposing until it reaches the end of the first stage. It's then moved to a new site for the second part of the process. They need to keep it separated so they know which is the new waste and which is the old, decomposing waste. It looks gross, but it's actually a complex natural process.
What's that guy doing with that probe thing?
That's to check the temperature of the food that's composting. It's incredibly hot, that's why you can see all the steam. It's a product of the composting process, as is that white stuff.
What is that white stuff? That doesn't look too appetising, if you'd pardon the pun.
That's actually called saprotrophic fungus, to give its full name.
I'm sure he's a fun guy.
Please stop it. It actually occurs naturally during the composting process and helps break down all the organic materials.
Alright, so it has a purpose then.
Yeah, it does. It helps break down the wood mulch and all the other bits of wood to soil. After the waste has been inside the bunkers for a month, it's moved outdoors so that it can fully mature. This is known as the windrow composting. The compost is left here for 50 days and turned frequently to ensure it reaches its best maturity and is constantly checked with a temperature probe, like we just saw.
Well, the smell seems a lot better. What happens once it's been outside?
Well, once it's matured even more, it's placed into the giant machine and is sifted to ensure there are no nasties in there like plastic bottles or big bits of wood. Once it's been sifted, and any remaining things that can't decompose are filtered out, you end up with nothing but pure compost. It's ready to be taken by lorry to be used to help grow food on the estate and is used by people in their gardens and on other farms.
Food grown on the estate? Like what?
Well, they grow corn here, as well as other fruit and veg. It's the most organic way of growing, and it helps the environment too.
I love corn on the cob. I had no idea our own food waste could help grow more food. Talk about the circle of life and all that.
You're not narrating The Lion King, James. But yes, our food waste does indeed help grow our food. So the next time you're thinking of throwing that bit of pizza in the bin, throw it in the food caddy instead. No one's asking you to become a farmer, but by throwing your food in there, it can help grow your next meal.
Oh, that's what it's for. I thought Mum was using it to decorate the kitchen.
You do know you can be a bit of a muppet sometimes, don't you, James? The green food caddy is where you should put your food scraps instead of in the bin.
Oh, so instead of putting my stuff in the bin, I should put my pizza boxes and my cans in the recycling, and my pizza bits and mum's bad cooking that I don't want in the food caddy, yeah?
It's that easy. All the recycling together and the food waste in there. James?
I actually think you've got this thing of being a responsible person down, you know. But I wouldn't let Mum hear what you just said if I were you.
You're right, she'd kill me. But it's pretty amazing the amount of stuff that we can recycle, even down to the food waste on our plate.
I know. And it doesn't end there. Some people take it even further and make a business out of recycling all sorts of stuff.
Really? Like what?
I can show you.
I'm Helen. I run Recycle with Love. I set up the company after finishing my degree in textile design. I started working for fashion suppliers, and their morals really conflicted with how I thought clothing should be made and the fabrics where they should be sourced from. With Recycle with Love, we make all sorts, from skirts to dresses and play suits, something that's got sort of a quirky vintage feel to the style. Beforehand, I take old sweaters and replace buttons and jazz up old curtains into funky pencil skirts. So using old vintage cartoon characters and things that people find sort of novelty value in, but it's great to be able to reuse these things.
Hi, my name's Kirsty Patrick, and I'm by Kirsty. I'm making furniture and lighting. Basically, it was a funny kind of story. I made a gift for my friend for her birthday. I'd seen a lovely chair in an old charity shop. I thought I could give it a new revamp, and it's kind of progressed from there. So I've started making the chairs, and then gone on from there making dresses and mirrors and all sorts of things. The majority of the furniture that I pick has got so much more life left in it. It's really well made, high quality furniture that's come from, 1940s, 50s, 60s, and you can still get a long use out of them. And also they've got a bit of a story behind them as well. They've, that somebody else has had it in their house, and you can give it another lick of paint and it's got a new life. A large amount of it, all of it really, is recycled. I try not to waste anything really, so it can be a tiny scrap about that big and I can still cover a couple of earrings with that. So just try and use as much as possible.
This is Recreate. My name's Alex. We're an organisation that supports play providers, but our ethos is using reusable, recyclable materials, and we use them to be play materials. So any organisation can come along and use us. Children of all ages can come along. We encourage children to get messy, get creative, and really get down on their hands and knees and use their imagination. We are an Aladdin's cave and a treasure trove downstairs. We will take resources that can range from half a canoe to mannequins from shops to Christmas baubles to the place where the whole of the Polar Mint goes. Every display that you'll see downstairs has been made with something from our store. The Dalek, which is fully operational and was made by students of UWIC using our scrap materials. We've also got a massive tree which a person can go inside and has removable arms and legs. We divert quite a lot of waste products from landfill sites, and obviously that's sustainable for all of our children's future. But as well as the environmental, we're showing children that actually you can reduce your own waste in your own home, in your own school, by reusing something and turning it into a fun activity as well.
Obviously not 100% of the items that I can use will be recycled, but as much as I can possibly scavenge is I take zips off old items of clothing and reuse them. I collect buttons from old shirts. Just going to charity shops and asking behind the desk, you find a multitude of things that they don't put out on the counters but are so easy to recycle. Recycling, revamping is something that's so important at the moment, and it's really important to me, and it's great that I could combine what I do with the ethics and things that I believe in.
I think a lot of people are quite easy to throw everything away because a lot of stuff is quite cheap nowadays, so you can get into a habit of throwing stuff away when you could actually be keeping it and using it maybe give it a new sort of life and change it. So maybe it was a chair and you could make it into a table or something like that. Just give it a new sort of look.
I think that for most people, is the littlest they can do is put in a can in the right bin. But for me, I wanted to do more than that. And being able to combine my working life with recycling and being able to give something back, it is great. I love it.
Wow, I had no idea that recycling could become a business and earn people money from it.
I know, you can pretty much do anything with what you throw away. Amazing really when you think about it. Something you throw away could become something completely new, or even a work of art.
That's sweet.
It is really, just how you think about it, I suppose.
Oh, right. I see you back, you two. We better head over to Nan's pretty soon and have a slice of this pizza if it's going spare. Be starving by the time we get to Nan's, innit? Huh? Oh, not quite what I expected. I think I better wait till we get to Nan's.
Dad, food caddy please. Help the environment and all that. It's not hard. With one small step, you can make a big difference.
Okay, Mr. Eco Warrior. Has Anna's been teaching you as well?
Yeah, she has.
Dad, recycling isn't just about throwing things in a different bin and thinking, that's it. It's about taking steps to reduce what we throw away and reuse what we do throw away in more sustainable and creative ways, so that where we live is a healthier and cleaner place for everybody.
Okay. Lesson learned. Right, I think we better get ready and go over to Nan's. You know what she's like if we're late. And it's a long drive. Come on.